Hi, Rachel here. This is episode 7 of the Yarn Equals Joy podcast. I'm going to hold up my little trusty board with all the details. I can be found on Ravelry as Rachely and on Instagram as Rachely Book Girl. This is the Yarn Equals Joy podcast, episode 7, and today is March 16th. Of 2019. Thanks for coming back. If you've joined me before, you are one of a very small number. And thanks, of course, if you're new and just trying it out. I hope this is something you like and you come back and you hit like and subscribe and all those good things. This is just a very early stage podcast, and I don't know how long I'll be doing it, but I'm just still trying to figure it out. Today's will be probably especially short because I don't think I have a ton to talk about. First, I finally finished the Melanie Berg Drachnels. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. Shawl. I made it out of Quince & Co. Chickadee, the sport weight, in the colors gray and apricot and crow. I'll take it off in a second. I did come up a little short yarn-wise, which never happens to me, I think because I always order too much, and this I ordered probably just enough and then kind of panicked, and also the rows were getting really long and I was getting kind of tired of it, so I cut it short a bit. But it's plenty big and cozy and squishy and yummy, and what I was worried about was that it might look too Halloween-y, but I think it doesn't actually, because of this sort of gray, ends up looking kind of khaki-ish. You can see it's pretty long and it's really pretty. I've already worn it to school because we had some unusually cold weather, and then it got really hot, like 70s, and now it's back to being cool again. But the stripes are really pretty on this. I don't know, I did get a little bit sick of it as I was working on it, but now having it, I'm really glad I have it. I love orange, and this is a really cool orange, you know, this apricot color. And it was a fun yarn to work with, very plump and good. Okay, that's it for FOs, and my other two projects. Well, I have a lot of whips, but the two that I'm going to show you are the ones that I've most been giving some love to this week and this month, I guess, because it's been about a month since I podcast, so I don't feel like I have a ton of progress for that amount of time. The first thing I'm going to show you is my northeasterly blanket. I know a lot of people are doing it. I decided to do mine as a baby blanket, and all out of Koigu, which is really very richly variegated and I think has a really interesting look. I'm being a little picky, but not really picky with the colors. It's, you know, a lot of pinks and oranges and purples, and then a little pop of like green every once in a while. But I think it's going to be a really yummy baby blanket. And no, I don't have a baby, and no, my kids aren't married or have babies, so I think it's just going to get tucked away for a special baby someday. Yeah, I'm excited because it is just something really pretty, and it's really easy to work on. I think it helps that I'm working on these really tiny signature straight pointed needles, just makes it incredibly enjoyable. And the other thing that's nice is, you know, after a long day of work and I'm tired, the rows are really short. So I can just get started and do some rows, and if that's all I can do, that's all I can do. But it's not like the next project that I'm going to show you where the rows are now really long and it takes a while to just make any sort of headway. I have been buying a lot of the Koigu. They come in these 50-gram balls, and you can see that they just, the colors are just really rich and saturated, and unusual color combinations, and I think it's going to be, these are just a few of them, I think it's going to be really fun. And I have it in this gorgeous basket. I think I got it from Big Mama, and it's really filled with yarn and goodness and perfect. Okay, my next whip that I'm going to show is a gift for my cousin. I showed it, I think last time I had just cast it on. It's a pattern I've made multiple times. It's the Amidst Shawl by Lisa Much, who is the dyer and designer behind Northbound Knitting. Really talented. If you have not yet looked at her shawls, she has an incredible amount of shawls, and I haven't heard people talking about her a lot lately. And she's really one of those designers that, you know, has some really beautiful classic shapes, and you can do exciting things with them just by changing up colors. And so anyway, worth looking at. The shawl is in a Matterroot Maine bag, which I love. And I'm using two yarns. I think I talked about it when I cast it on. This is, the yellow is a Magpie Fibers on a base I don't think they still have, that's like part silk and part merino, and it really is literally the softest thing I think I've ever knit with. And then the brown with golds is Yarn Cafe Creations, Christie's yarn, and she also has a podcast with her daughter, who also is a dyer of Dragon Horde yarns. This pattern is created for 3 colors. I usually do it now in 2, especially when one is variegated. I get, I think, the same impact. My cousin said she wanted it even bigger than mine, so I'm trying to add rows in a couple different places. I'm pretty sure that's going to block out a lot and the lace will open up. And I'm not done yet. It ends on this section with the brown, but I think I may go ahead and add another little yellow section on the top because I have about that much left. And my cousin really likes soft things, and I think the more of the yellow in it, the more she'll enjoy the shawl. So yeah, I'm excited about that. She lives in Chicago, outside Chicago city limits, and it's freezing cold there a lot, so I think this is really going to be something that she will use and hopefully love for a long time. I'm okay on time. I think her birthday is like mid-April, so hopefully this will get done and off the needles and blocked and off to her. Okay, so that's it for FOs and whips. And then the only other thing, well, there are 2 other sections that I have today. I'm still reading the Lori King book, so I don't have any new books to talk about. And although I have watched TV in the last month, I can't think of anything that really excites me other than, I don't know if I mentioned the Miss Fisher Australian series, but I finally finished it. They had 3 years of episodes, and the 3rd year seems to be the final year, and I'm sad about that because I really enjoyed watching them. They were really fun, and the woman who played the main character was just amazing and fun to watch, so it was very fun. Mindless TV knitting. TV for knitting, I guess. So I do have a little stash enhancement. It didn't come that recently, but since it's been a month, it's been a while. These are from Vermont, from Must Love Yarn. They have a lovely podcast once a week, which I watch, and they give, if you haven't seen it yet, you should, because every week they start with a 10% off coupon for something they're featuring in the store. And a while ago, they featured this dye gilpin Lalland, 100% Scottish lamb's wool, and it is just so gorgeous. It's kind of twisty, and it's soft, and the colors are gorgeous, and I just fell in love with it. So I got those. I don't know what they'll be. It could be a big scarf or cowl for my son, one of my sons. It might be, just some other color work project. It could be a hat. It's really pretty and rustic and earthy, which I really like. There is that weird thing that I think a lot of us are going through. We're kind of drawn to the really speckly, fun, indie dyed yarns, but we're also sort of pulled towards the really rustic, sheepy wools. And when I think back to a long time ago, when I was in my teens and I went on like a trip to Europe, and we ended up in England, and I had saved my money the whole time because I was terrified that I was going to run out of money. So I had money finally to spend because that was our last stop. And I can remember we went to some store, probably a department store, I don't remember, and they had these woolly turtleneck sweaters, and I thought they were the most gorgeous thing I'd ever seen. They looked so natural and rustic, and they just spoke to me. And I think when I see that rustic kind of yarn, it reminds me that I have always been drawn to that. I'm definitely a bit of an Anglophile, and probably should have lived in Ireland or something. I mean, that's sort of where, a place that I kind of love and am drawn to also. But anyway, that yarn, that lamb's wool is soft. It doesn't feel rustic, but it has that same rustic sense for me. So anyway, that's sort of a fun aside, I guess. Okay, so it's gonna be really short today. As I said, I really do only have one last thing, and that is I drew a winner for this this yarn that I've said I'm giving away, this Italian Lana Grossa kind of marled looking sock yarn. There were two new balls that I'm giving away, and there were 8 people, and I put their names in a hat, and the winner was Llama Mama Kayla. Llama Mama Kayla. And that had a special meaning to me because I was very close to my mom, and she passed away about 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I guess, gosh. And for some reason, in the last few years of her life, as sort of this sort of cheeky way of teasing her, every time I picked up the phone, I would say, "Hey, Mama Llama." I don't honestly know why or how it started, but it became a thing. And now, and it was really before I had gotten back into knitting. And then of course I got back into knitting, and there were llamas everywhere, and they all sort of remind me of that silly nickname and that little joke we had. And so anyway, Llama Mama Kayla. I wonder if you have llamas or where that name comes from. But anyway, Kayla, contact me, and I will be happy to send out these 2 skeins or balls of yarn to you, and I hope you enjoy them and they get some use and love in their new home. Okay, everybody, I told you it would be short. I think this is only 14 minutes. Hopefully next time I'll have more to show you. Please hang in there, and if you are watching, comment that you've watched so it doesn't feel like such a silly void that I'm talking into. Have a great rest of March. Happy St. Patty's Day if that is something you enjoy, and otherwise I will see you in a little bit. Happy knitting. Bye.